Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Nara- Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Yapsam
Jaya
tato jam
Mudire
mudidaret.
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपाय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण विष्णु भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नाम नमस्ते गुरु निचार्य निर्विशेष नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण विष्णु हरि रजस्तमा प्रकृताया
Rajastamas prakritya
संशीला भजन्ति वै
samsila bhajanti
Samsila
vaya.
Bhajanti Vai
पितृभूता प्रजेशादीन्
Priti
Pitrabhuta
bhuta
Pradesadin
prajesadin.
श्रियैश्वर्य प्रजेप्सवः
Shri
Shri
Aishwarya
Vaisarva
Pradeshvara.
Prajeshwa.
Okay, anybody would like to volunteer for reading the translation?
Can I?
Yes, please.
Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by desire to be materially benefited by woman, wealth, power, and progeny.
Rajani, yes. To read the purport as well?
Sure. There is no need to worship demigods of whatsoever category if one is serious about going back to Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.20-23, it is clearly said that those who are mad after material enjoyment approach the different demigods for temporary benefits, which are meant for men with a poor fund of knowledge. We should never desire to increase the depth of material enjoyment. Material enjoyment should be accepted only up to the point of the bare necessities of life, and not more or less than that. To accept more material enjoyment means to bind oneself more and more to the miseries of material existence. More wealth, more women, and false aristocracy, or I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that.
Yes, you said it right.
Oh, okay.
Aristocracy.
Are some of the demigods of the materiality
Are some of the demands.
some of the demands of the material disposed man, because he has no information of the benefit derived from Vishnu worship. By Vishnu worship one can derive benefit in this life as well as in life after death. Forgetting these principles, foolish people who are after more wealth, more wives, more children, worship various demigods. The aim of life is to end the miseries of life and not to increase them.
Hare Krishna. So here it is mentioned, those who are in modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by the desire to be materially benefited with woman, wealth, power, progeny. So, what is mentioned is that when we are under the control of passion and ignorance, then we have material desires. So, to fulfill the material desires, we go and approach those who we feel can fulfill these material desires. So different kinds of worships people are doing for demigods. Sometimes they're going and you know uh, like what we say, buttering powerful living beings. Maybe somebody who is trying to butter his boss. uh, like in Hindi they say maska marna, right? Flattering to get things out of it. It is like kind of worship, you know. People are putting photos and pictures of so many famous personalities, whether sportsmen, whether politicians, whether business magnates. They are making them idols and in one way worshipping them, or trying to make contacts with them so that they can help. And forefathers, some are worshipping their own ancestors to bless them with more and more material, uh, fulfillment of more material desires. So for they are urged by the desire of material benefit. And what is their need is, these are the things: opposite sex, wealth, power, next followers, or next generation of children. All these things, people are having different desires. So in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining one who is serious about getting out of the cycle and birth and death should actually doesn't have to take to this demigod worship. And this is in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is quoting here 7.20 and 23, right? Kame steste itagyana prapadyante anya devata tam tam nimam asthaya prakritya niyatah swaya. That those whose desires or intelligence are actually stolen by material desires, means their material desires are so strong and prevalent that even their intelligence is under the influence of material desires, so they take shelter of demigods. So this is better than the atheist. Atheists don't even take shelter of demigods. So better than them is those who are taking shelter of demigods for material desires. But even better than those, and the best, are who are actually not engaging in demigod worship, but actually taking shelter of Krishna. That is best. Why? Because material desire, even if they are fulfilled, then also one after the other, you'll have problems, because one material enjoyment will bind us to more and more, right? We want to enjoy more. One sense gratification is met, then we want the same thing again or something different again, like that. So more, uh, you know, wealth, opposite sex, aristocratic and comfortable life, all these things people are wanting in this world. But this particular life is very temporary. Even if we have everything, our body, our mind, our senses will make things miserable for us. So better to not get into the trap of this. So what to do? So worship Vishnu. Why? Because then you are actually trying to get out of the cycle of birth and death. You are not really focusing on fulfillment of material desires. And those who forget these, and they are, in terms of material desires, they miss out the great opportunity of this human form of life. So every day we are one, just now we are reading the translation of the song, right? Every single day we are one day closer to death. So might as well advance spiritually rather than just looking at the material and desires fulfillment. Okay, we'll read uh, next two paragraphs, then we can have more discussion. Anybody would like to share any points from this much, what we just read? Should we go forward? Okay, we'll go forward. Who will read the next paragraph? Any volunteers who would like to read the next paragraph for material enjoyment?
Hare Krishna, I can read.
Yes, Prabhuji.
For material enjoyment, there is no need to approach the demigods. The demigods are but servants of the Lord. As such, they are duty-bound to supply necessities of life in the form of water, light, air, etc. One should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence, and that should be the motto of life. One should be careful to execute occupational service with faith in God in the proper way, and that will lead one gradually on the progressive march back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So what should be our motto in life? Work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence. So general motto in this world is work hard and enjoy the fruits, right? That is the motto of most people, if not all. Work hard and enjoy the fruits ourselves. But here, Prabhupada is saying, what should be the motto? One should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence. So all the fruits of working hard should be given. Actually, even in Christians, madams, you can see, Christians have these nuns, and some of the nuns are actually doctors and nurses. And those who are full-time, like we also have full-time devotees, they also have full-time devotee. So those doctors who are like full-time, what they do, and these nuns, they will work in the hospital, and the whole paycheck which comes, it actually goes to the church, right? It goes to the church. So we have our devotees, brahmacharis and all who have dedicated their life, and they had high-paying job, they left that, and they are engaged in the service of the Lord directly in the temple. And essentially, if somebody is in some religions, they don't have so many spiritual engagements. We are very fortunate we have so many spiritual engagements that people don't have to go out. But those who don't have such spiritual engagements, they also have to be active. They have to do something. But what they're doing is, whatever they're doing, they're earning, they're coming and giving to the church. That is in one way, engaging in the service of God, 100% of whatever they did. So we can see how both ways one can engage in service of the Lord. One may be doing bhakti yoga, totally engaged in the temple. And then the other person may not have such engagements. So they'll do whatever time they have in spiritual activity, maybe reading Bible or whatever. And then whatever else is coming, they are giving totally to the service of the God. So that is also like karma yoga, doing our actions and giving everything in service of the Lord. So all these means one can use depending upon what is his psychophysical nature and engage in the service of the Lord. And one should be careful to execute occupational service with faith in God in proper way. And that will lead one gradually to the progressive march back to Godhead. So this is important, that carefully one has to execute the dharma, the occupational service. So how do we carefully do? By getting guidance. This has to be practiced under proper guidance in a proper way. So that will lead to march back to God. Okay, who will read the last paragraph? Any volunteers?
I can read. Lord Sri Krishna, when he was personally present at Vrajadham, stopped the worship of the demigod Indra and advised the residents of Vraja to worship by their business and to have faith in God. Worshipping the multi-demigods for material gain is practically a perversity of religion. This sort of religious activity has been condemned in every beginning of the Bhagavatam as Kaitava Dharma. There is only one religion in the world to be followed by one and all, and that is the Bhagavatam Dharma, or the religion which teaches one to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So there are different types of religions. So monotheistic religion means there is one Supreme Lord. Polytheistic religion means there are many gods. The problem with polytheism is that if you say that there are many gods, then how are those many gods able to coordinate? There has to be ultimately one force or one who has to lead, right, to make sure everything is in harmony. Just like in some religions, like Abrahamic religions, Christians and Muslims, their belief system is that there is only one true God and all the others are false God. So therefore you'll see that that Muslims also, they will say there is no God but one God, and that is Allah. Right? Have you heard this? They say Illallah hai Muhammad Rasulullah. That is what it means. There's no God but one God. And what they do, wherever they go, they if there is some other following other thing, they will destroy all of that, because they say all these are false gods. Similarly, in Christianity also, there's only one God. And if somebody is saying something else, then that is Satan. Satan is like the evil. On the other hand, Vedic culture, Vedic tradition has a very refined, sophisticated, and clear picture here. They and now other religions also believe in angels. They believe in angels. That okay, Gabriel, some angel came and gave their knowledge, or some other angel came, right? So they are similar to, like, what we call demigods or higher personalities who are working under. And then the idea of the demigods is that they are assistant. They are assistant of the one supreme God. That is monotheism. And so there is monotheism, there is polytheism, there is a pantheism. Pantheism means everything is God. They say anything you can worship as God. You have a table, you worship the table, that is God. So that is like totally non-shastric, non-scriptural. Some people say, no, God is everywhere. So I can worship anything. Yes, but that is your mental speculation and concoction. What is given by the authorities or the scriptures, that has to be followed. Not according to our whims and fancies and whatever we feel. So that is all coming under the category of Kaitav Dharma. Here it says, it has been condemned in the very beginning of Bhagavatam as Kaitav Dharma. These Utpatang, all nonsense religions, they are not bona fide. They are not there. So if somebody is following the scriptures, whether they are following Vedas or whether they are following their own scriptures, Bible or Quran or anything, they have to understand and follow it properly. The problem is a lot of people have actually misinterpreted things and come to a wrong conclusion. So that's why people come to a wrong understanding, and then in the name of one supreme God, they start fighting and killing each other, which is such a irony. That is not how it's supposed to be. So all these are Ketav dharmas, and people who don't understand the ultimate purpose, who are materially motivated, they actually cause problem. All right. So those are few points I wanted to share. Now we can open up for more devotees to share. Suresh Prabhu, Chaitanya Prabhu, you would like to add something?
नहीं प्रभु जी ठीक है
Isha, do you have any questions?
No, not really.
We'll go to next shloka. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go to the next shloka. Very good. So next is a little big. Let's see whatever we can do today. Remaining we'll do tomorrow. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.28 and 29. Vasudev Paraveda.
वासुदेव परावेदा
Vasudev Paramakha.
Vasudeva
वासुदेव
Paramaka.
परामखा
Vasudev Parayoga.
Vasudeva
वासुदेव
Parayoga.
परायोगा
Vasudev Parakriya.
वासुदेव
Vasudeva
पराक्रिया
Parakriya.
Vasudev Param Jnanam.
वासुदेव
Vasudeva
परम
Param
ज्ञानम
Jnanam.
Vasudeva Param Tapah.
Vasudeva
वासुदेव
Param
परम
Tapa.
तप
Vasudeva Paro Dharmo.
Vasudeva
वासुदेव
Paro
परो
Dharmo.
धर्मो
Vasudeva Paragati.
वासुदेव
Vasudeva Paragati.
परागति
Okay, let's read the translation. Who would like to read? Any volunteers who would like to read the translation?
I can read प्रभु जी
Yes, Prabhu.
यस माता जी आप पढ़िए
Suresh Prabhu,
You
okay,
can read.
Mashmi Mata.
In
Mashmi
the-
Mata, you can.
My internet is giving little trouble, but
Okay. So,
in the
Madhaji,
revealed
you want to read?
scriptures, in the
Go ahead.
revealed scriptures, in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaji. So now they are talking about the Supreme. So they first clarified about the demigods. Now they are talking about what about the Supreme Lord? He's the ultimate object of knowledge. Who? Sri Krishna, Vasudeva. Right? How many times word Vasudeva came in the shloka? Did you notice this? Vasudeva 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
10.
8.
8.
Every single line has this word. Right? Very purifying word. So this is the purpose of our life. What is the purpose? This is the purpose of to please him. This is the purpose of a sacrifice. Right? And all austerities which we do is for him. And dharma is to render service. True dharma is actually to render service to him. He's the supreme goal. All right, we'll read the purport. So we'll read the first paragraph. Anybody would like to volunteer to read? Suresh Prabhu, you were saying, right? Can you read?
Okay, Prabhu ji. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is the only object of worship is confirmed in these two sloka. In the Vedic literature, there is same objective, establishing one relationship and ultimately reviving our lost loving service unto him. This is the sum and substance of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, the same theory is confirmed by the Lord in his own words. The ultimate purpose of the Vedas is to know him only. All the revealed scriptures are prepared by the Lord through his incarnation in the body of Srila Vyasdeva just to remind the fallen souls, conditioned by the material nature of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. That is the verdict of all the Vedic literatures. Impersonalists who have no information of the personality of Godhead minimize the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord and put him on equal footing with all other living beings. And for this act, such impersonalists get freedom from material bondage only with their great difficulty. They can surrender unto him only after many, many births in the culture of the transcendental knowledge.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you. Prabhu. Okay. So Shri Krishna is the object, is confirmed in these two shlokas, right? He's the object of worship. And it is mentioned that he's the sum and substance of all the Vedas, right? That he's the ultimate purpose of all the Vedas. Even Bhagavad Gita, here Prabhupada is saying, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, the same theory is confirmed by the Lord. In his words, the ultimate purpose of Vedas is to know only him. Which shloka does Krishna say this? Can anybody tell?
Prabhu, Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Samvishto.
Yeah, Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Samvishto, 15.15, right?
Okay.
मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानं मोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैर् अहम् एव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत वेद विदेव च. So by all the Vedas I am to be known. ऐसे कह रहे हैं कृष्ण. So all the revealed scriptures are prepared by the Lord through his incarnation of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, he actually compiled all the scriptures, and Vyasadeva is incarnation of the Supreme Lord. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. That is the verdict of all Vedic scriptures. Now Prabhupada is bringing this point about impersonalist. So what impersonalists they believe, right? They say, oh, Brahman is impersonal, but he can come down as in different forms. Maybe he can come as Krishna or Shiva or any of the demigods, Kali, Ganesh. So like that, some vague idea they have that they are all actually the impersonal Brahman is supreme, and these are all false forms which are taken by that supreme. So therefore, they are equating the Supreme Lord to the equal footage with the demigods, or the Supreme Brahman being the true and the form of Krishna being illusory or under the influence of Maya. So those things are to be rejected. So therefore, they don't get success easily. They have to actually really work very hard. And then these misconceptions, they go away. So after that, they attain to the Supreme. Otherwise, they are very, the path which they follow is very dangerous and they can't get much success. All right. Who will read the next paragraph? I think we'll read just one more paragraph, then we'll conclude, because remaining paragraphs we'll do tomorrow. Okay, I'll read. One may argue that the Vedic activities are based on sacrificial ceremonies. That is true, but all such sacrifices are also meant for realizing the truth about Vasudeva. Another name for Vasudeva is Yajna, sacrifice. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that all sacrifices and all activities are to be conducted for the satisfaction of Yajna or Vishnu. So which shloka is this? In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated. that all sacrifices and all activities are to be conducted for the satisfaction of Yajna or Vishnu. Can anybody tell? Open for everybody.
This is in chapter 4.
This is in chapter 3. First half of
Yes,
the
chapter 3.
Which is it? Which shloka is it? Can anybody tell?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Will
ma'am.
it be Bhoktaram?
That is there, but actually exact translation of this shloka is different. I mean the one which you are quoting, Bhoktaram. Krishna is the enjoyer. Here is saying satisfaction or yajna. Everything has to be done for the. But that was a good guess. Very close. So yajnarthat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhana. Right? 3.9, I believe. Yeah. So 3.9 यज्ञार्थात् कर्म नोन्यत्र लोकोयम कर्म बंधना तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संगा समाचर. So the Bhagavad Gita disclares that all sacrifices or actions conducted for satisfaction of Yajna or Vishnu. Otherwise, it causes bondage. So therefore, do it for Krishna. This is the case also with the yoga systems. Yogi means to get in touch with the Supreme Lord. The process, however, includes several bodily features such as asana, dhyan, pranayam, meditation, and all of them are meant for concentrating upon the localized aspect of Vasudeva, represented as Paramatma. Right? So all these asana, the Ashtanga Yoga, what is the idea? Of concentrating upon the localized aspect of the Lord, which is in the heart. Right? So focus on that. Paramatma realization is but partial realization of Vasudev. So they are focusing on the Paramatma, that is just partial realization. If one is successful in that attempt, one realizes Vasudev in full. But by ill luck, most yogis are stranded by powers of mysticism. Now, in the process, when they are doing all these meditation and all these things, they get a lot of powers also. So these powers of mysticism, which they achieve through bodily forces, they just get trapped by that. Ill-fated yogis are given a chance in the next birth by being placed in the families of good, learned Brahmins or in the families of rich merchants in order to execute the unfinished task of Vasudeva realization. If such fortunate Brahmanas and son of rich men properly utilize the chance, they can easily realize Vasudev by good association with saintly persons. Unfortunately, such preferred persons are captivated again by material wealth and honor, and thus they practically forget the aim of life. So, if one is unsuccessful, then next life again they get a chance by being born in Brahman family or Vaishnava family, and there they can continue to learn. But what happens? We still get trapped. Even if we get such a chance, then we miss out. Like right now, we have a good chance. We are in association of devotees. We are born, brought up at families which are favorable. You know, Bharat Bhumi. Everybody in India knows Krishna. So we are so close. But our steps are still, very slow. So there is a chance that we may miss out in this life. So we have to be more and more careful about this. So by nice association, by regularly chanting, hearing, and taking advantage of all the opportunities. Like right now, we are getting Gaur Purnima festival on Sunday. So now, of course, with COVID going on, I don't know how many of you will be able to visit temples. Anyways, we live so far away from temples. And now on top of that, we have COVID. So I really doubt most of us will be able to go to the temples. Is there anybody who's planning to go?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So out of 7 people, only one. Out of 7 participants here, just one participant are going. So it's a very difficult thing. But the thing is, we have to somehow or the other figure out how we can utilize, do some service wherever we are, how we can engage in the service. Engage in the service of temple, attend temple programs from wherever we are, Mangal Aarti, morning Aarti, different other Aartis, or attend Bhagavatam lectures or other lectures, render some service. If you can't do much, and for those who are visiting the temple, maybe they can do some service to the temple, maybe some cleaning, distribution of prasadam, or something, which the temple um, is needing. Donations. If we can't do anything, we are just at home. Maybe we can put some donations to the temple. We can cook some nice special items and then distribute to other people after offering it to Krishna. So make it for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like that, different ideas are there. Maybe we can make garlands. So depending upon our abilities, capability, and desire, and uh, practical situation, we can engage in some or the other service. So if we stay in service, then that way we'll keep growing. All right. So I'll stop here. Anybody would like to make any points? Questions, comments, any points you want to share? Yes,
I have a
Mashmi,
question. So is the temple open there in Michigan?
Yes. So now the temple has opened. We have to just RSVP whoever is coming, and then they will have some rules, restrictions, and everything which we have to follow. They will have limitation. Not so many people, more than this much people can come at once. And then they'll make boxes for prasadam, and then you can take the boxes. It's not like normal days, but they have the opportunity for people to go and attend the darshan and aarti and all of that.
Because temple is not open here. That I know in this state.
Yeah, different places,
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
And then it also depends the time. Maybe in next few days they will close in Michigan also. Who knows? Cases are rising now. So we'll see. But the idea is that somehow or the other we have to engage. Actually, we also planned for tomorrow. Whoever devotees would like to join. Only Raksha Mataji and Rakshimata Mataji replied that they will join tomorrow, and Mashmi Mataji. They will join for Mangal Aarti tomorrow morning. Nobody else replied actually. So if we can't go physically to the temple, we can at least have some program, some association in the home itself. So tomorrow being Saturday, we are still going to do the Aarti tomorrow morning. So anybody who would like to join, most welcome. We're going to start 6:30. Those devotees who would like to chant before that can join for the chanting session, and then we will do the morning program, do the Bhagavatam. We'll not necessarily keep it till noon, like what I was originally thinking, because most people are unavailable, it seems. So just 2-3 people said they will come. So we will at least do for a few hours, but we will plan again when more people are available. So everybody, each one of you are invited. Feel free to join tomorrow morning for chanting and Mangal Aarti. And we will talk more tomorrow. All right. Any final points anybody has?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So, suppose you're only praying to Krishna for material gain and you go to regular associations. Will you like slowly become like a real devotee, a pure devotee?
Yes. Exactly. You got the point. That is very true. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. I think we'll conclude here. Vancha kalma tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya pattanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna.